Welcome to Shelterhouse Shares, our digital version of our monthly newsletter. I am so excited to have you here and joining and learn a little bit more about Shelterhouse and all the many things that we do. And I am today very delighted to have Robin Greiner here with me, and we are going to take you on a tour of Shelterhouse. So many times people don't understand what it is we do. They know we work with domestic violence and sexual assault victims, but they don't know what the house looks like or any of those things. So we thought we'd take you on a tour today. So welcome, and we want you to know first of all that our location's not a secret. We're out on Isabella Road, and we are there in the community and a strong part of our community and a community partner. And we want you to be able to share with all of the things that we think are wonderful that are happening in our community. Our mission is to eliminate domestic and sexual violence. That's the two things we do, and we think we do them very well. We do it through an empowerment philosophy. We work with the women and children, and yes, we do serve men too, to help them learn how to make healthy, positive choices in their relationships and in their lives. So many times when someone's in a domestic violence situation, they've had the power and control taken away from them, and we help them learn how to get that back. So Robin, as we take a tour through the house, we're going to be showing some pictures, and we're going to start right, someone comes walking up to our front step. They walk up those steps and they see our front entrance. So here's a picture of our front entrance. We have a lot of things going on at Shelterhouse, and one of the main things that we want to have is safety and security. So there's a picture of the house. And Robin, can you talk a little bit about, I'm sure you've welcomed many, many, many clients to our shelter. Is there any stories or anything you can tell us about how clients feel when they walk into Shelterhouse?
Yes. Often moms are reluctant to come into shelter because of what the word shelter means. But what we have found is that when people come into our home, our shelter, they are amazed by what they see, as well as their children feeling like it's a castle. They often will call it their hotel or their castle. So they come in, it's warm and it's inviting, and it's a great place to be.
Yes. So the next picture we're going to show you is once they get inside the door, and you have to be buzzed in to get into Shelterhouse because, like I said, we want it to be a safe and secure facility. So you come in, and this is our lobby, and if someone comes in and they're in the lobby, they're behind that first layer of security. We have another layer of security as well. So,
well, if somebody's coming into shelter, they're going to come in, and immediately they're going to sense our security in that environment. But they're going to be greeted by an employee or a volunteer that's been trained in crisis intervention. So they're going to be greeted with someone who is welcoming to them, and they're going to come right in. We're going to go through an intake process where we do that very client-focused. We're going to take them and understand where they're coming from and what they've been experiencing, and then we're going to bring them into the rest of the shelter after that.
in the lobby, and you don't see it in the picture here, but we also have shelves for people who aren't residents, our other clients, things that they might need.
Right. Our community has been so generous to us, and we are given lots and lots of donations. And so we want to share those with not only our residential clients, but also our non-residential clients that are coming in for counseling appointment or support during their time of transition. And those things can be food, they might be cleaning supplies, gloves, hats, whatever is going on in that season, Easter things, Halloween items, those sort of things.
Very, very welcoming, and that's our goal. The next picture you're going to see is our conference room. And when Robin talked about all of the generosity of our community and the many, many donations we receive, that's one thing that we use our conference room for. We use it for meetings and staff meetings and board meetings, and even some community meetings happen there. But what other types of things happen in the conference room, Robin?
Our domestic violence support group meets there every week, and that is a group of about 8 to 12 women that come and It's called, Domestic Violence Support Group is called ACE, and that group stands for Advocacy, Connecting, and Empowering. And it's a great place to be, for women to be in an environment where they're with others that are that have experienced like situations. And that is also used for a place where we call them enrichment activities. We have scrapbooking that goes on there. We've even used that room for yoga, brought the tables out and used that room for yoga. So it's an all-purpose room.
Yeah, we call it the conference room, but it really is the all-purpose room. The next pictures you're going to see is the living room. So in my house, for example, I have my living room, and I have different things in there, and family might gather there and have conversations or watch TV or whatever. Is it different in shelter? What is the living room?
It's pretty much just like your living room at home. It's a gathering spot. In the mornings, we may have our morning meeting there. We have a meeting every morning with the residents, all those that are there, and we may have our morning meeting there. We also have events throughout the week where we're gathering families together, giving them something to do. I know on Fridays we have dinner and a movie, and so we do that as a family. So it's a comfortable place. You'll see people reading in there, crocheting in there, just like your own home.
I remember one time that I was working, and I went in to the living room, and there was a little girl, and maybe she was 2 or 3, and she had a little older brother, and so Mom was meeting with another staff, and she wanted me to read her book. So I sat down and read a book with her, and it was so much fun for me, but also something for her. And so I know a lot of stuff like that tries to make it really warm and welcoming and child-friendly too. So can the kids take the toys in the living room, or?
Oh, absolutely. It's a home. It is shelter. It's Shelterhouse, but it is a home. So, and you're going to get to see pictures later in the show where you'll get to see the activity room where we have toys. But if they bring toys in with them, those toys get to stay with them.
Okay.
But we also get to provide those toys for them to play with.
Okay. The second picture of the living room, I think, shows another the fireplace and different things going on. The fireplace doesn't function. That's for safety reasons.
One thing that's not shown in the picture is we have a computer in that room as well that the adults can use. Many of our residents are coming in and they are in school, they're job searching, they're needing to stay connected to their support system, so we have a computer right there in the living room as well as Wi-Fi that goes throughout the house.
With printers so that they can print
Yes.
off their resumes. They don't have to ask permission. It's their home. They can use it as they need to.
We started with one computer, and then you'll see another spot later in the show where we have 2 computers for the children. So
Okay.
we realized quickly that one computer was not enough for 15 people.
Yeah. Okay, the next pictures are going to be of the kitchen. I know at my house I have my kitchen, I make my meals, I have to buy my own groceries, I stock my cupboards, I do all of those things. And I know that it's different at Shelterhouse in some ways, but in other ways maybe not. So can you talk about the kitchen? And the picture they're seeing right now is of the table end.
We have a life skills advocate that works within the shelter, as well as someone who does the grocery shopping for us. And so we try to have as many of the clients' needs, anticipated needs, even met. We're always having eggs and milk and bread and all those staples that you have at your own home, and those are almost always there. But then our community has donated much of the food that we use. People at the time of fair will donate a cow and hogs, and so we have freezers in the basement that we don't have pictures of, but we have freezers in the basement that store all of that meat, and so we have that for them. So at any given time, they can open the cupboards and have vegetables and soup and whatever they're needing, really. And if we are planning a meal as a group and we need additional ingredients, our employee will get those ingredients for us. And like I said, we do a dinner movie on Friday, and there's a couple other times throughout the week where we'll do a group meal. And other than that, moms will take care, and our clients will take care of their own family needs individually.
I know that a lot of times we get donations that are canned goods and those kinds of things. And sometimes I know when the fresh fruits and vegetables come in, people get really excited because that's something if we want, we really have to go and spend Shelterhouse money to go buy. So those donations really make a difference, don't they?
Yeah, we've had several that have had like an orange drive, like where they've sold the oranges from Florida and they've had leftovers, they've brought them to us. And we have people who, out of the extras of their produce from their own garden, will bring us things. So those are always exciting times.
And we always get stuff from Hidden Harvest as well.
We've got an individual in the community right now bringing us eggs, so that through her farm that are left over, and so that's just great. Every little bit helps. Every little bit saves money and helps us provide nutritious meals for our residents.
Okay. The other view of the kitchen that they're going to show is just from the other end. We only have one kitchen, so it's not like we have two.
Right, and it does get cramped. If you can imagine 15 people getting their, not 15 moms, but 15 family or 15 individuals getting breakfast or dinner at night, and it's a bit of a
So do they all eat together? Or?
Often, but not all the time. Just mostly when we kind of say, okay, we're going to make this meal, and they may eat in shifts, but it's an exciting place to be. And this is also where we'll also hold our morning meetings with the residents, and we may be meeting with them as they're feeding their children.
Okay. What if I come in as a client, a resident, and I don't know how to cook? Sometimes we get single women, and so I don't have the skills to cook. Is there any help for me?
Right. Our Life Skills Advocate has started implementing some of those programs. And I say programs, but really it's just say, hey, why don't you cook with me? And learning things. Because a lot of times people can cook by just basics, but we're wanting to help them to learn from cooking from scratch so it can be economical for them and to help them stretch their dollars.
And more nutritious probably too.
Yes.
So, okay. Well, the Shelterhouse is 2 stories, and so let's talk about where people sleep. The next pictures are of one of the bedrooms.
Okay. Now this bedroom is called, we call it the bunk room. It's not an official bunk room.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you just a second. So bunk room, and you're going to see the picture, it's not like a military or a homeless shelter. So I want to dispel that right away.
Right.
You're only going to see pictures of one room, but go ahead.
But each one of our rooms are done with this much creativity. Like in this room, you'll see a little white strip above the bed. Each one of those beds has a night light in there so that it can be used for reading. And we've got some safety precautions there for the windows, but we build it with a family in mind. And you might want to move to the other picture. There's some built-in dressers there as well. And there's a chair view too. So this is a very large room, and this family will have some space to move. And there's a half bathroom in this room. We also have 2 other bathrooms that are upstairs that are full bathrooms with showers and the sinks, and they'll be with each room. But not every room has bunk beds like this. Some have a variation. They may have 2 twins or full and a set of bunk beds. So very different, but each one is as warm and inviting as this room.
Yeah, a year ago, we were very, very blessed by some churches in our community and Kiwanis, and a lot of different groups got together and actually did the work and did the remodeling of the rooms. So they're very warm and welcoming, and fresh and inviting.
Yeah. And they were done in the memory of Carrie Cram, a woman that had been in our domestic violence support group that had been killed by her husband, and then he took his own life, and that was done in her memory, and her favorite color was purple. So you'll see purple throughout the room and in each of the rooms.
Yeah, it's a very, very generous community that we live in, and it's unfortunate that part of domestic violence sometimes does end in that horrible tragedy of murder, but she would have liked to know that this was done in her honor. Yeah. So thank you. Capacity. Capacity for the shelter?
22 beds are what we say. We have 6 different bedrooms, 2 downstairs and the 4 upstairs. And the 2 downstairs we use for anybody with mobility impairment, as well as if there's older teenagers, older teen boys will be downstairs in that area. So and they have a handicap accessible bathroom right there and laundry facilities. So anybody who has any mobility impairment, they're going to be able to be served as well. And then the 4 bedrooms upstairs. We've had a few more than 22 because maybe we've had a baby in a crib and things like that. But
We've taken large families, as large as 6.
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So
In 1 bedroom, so you can imagine.
it gets very crowded, very
yeah.
crowded.
Yeah.
But they're safe. That's what the important part of it. The next pictures you're going to see is downstairs in the basement, the laundry room.
Okay.
That we have at home. My laundry builds and builds, and I have 1 washer and 1 dryer. So with up to 22, 23 people, it becomes a mountain of laundry. How is that handled?
Well, we don't have laundry days per se, but we have these 2 sets of washer and dryer as well as the one upstairs. And first of all, I want to say that we were able to do that by a generous donation of someone in our community. And we had to add a little bit of our own Shelterhouse dollars there, but they are industrial. They're going to last hopefully longer than the ones we have at our own homes. But they do definitely get used a lot. And we also are able to provide laundry detergent, fabric softener, and bleach, and most of that is by the generosity of Target and area community groups that have collected laundry detergent. And that's just